Y'all ready for this?
What?
Mm.
February, Mental Health Monday. We're talking mental health and relationships all month long. Sorry to the exes. But today we got back with us our long lost friend, Jon McEwen.
What's up,
Back
brother?
in the building. I missed you guys.
Miss you.
We miss you.
I'm sorry my hair looks like shit. I really am.
We I pop on summer camp sometimes and just shed a tear as I watch you wade out into the water. Well, there he
I
goes.
still wear the shirt.
A lot of people do, and I love that. I think we need
Yeah.
to get more of those in the circulation because a lot of people fuck with those shirts. So
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah. I wear them all the time.
But yes, man, we're just rolling the dice here. Mental health and relationships. There's so
Okay.
many different places we can start here. Where should we begin?
I think we should start with getting into relationships.
Makes sense. At
Because
the
mental
beginning
health,
of a relationship.
Fair.
I mean, mental health plays a lot into it, especially if you
Definitely.
deal with like anxieties or separation issues and all that kind of stuff. Trying to jump up into a relationship can be a difficult ass task.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. And especially right now, I don't know if you guys like follow a lot of the YouTubers out, but there's like what they call a manosphere. Have you heard of that?
I don't think so.
No? Oh man, you guys gotta. What about? Have you heard of Kevin Samuels?
No.
What? He's like the biggest right now. What about Fresh and Fit? Or there's even Tommy Sotomayor. There's like a portion of YouTube where So speaking of getting into relationships, there's a part of YouTube that teaches men the stuff that, because like there's guy talk and girl talk. Girls lie to each other about everything, but guys, like we get together and we have conversations about how we actually feel.
Yeah.
And we'll all have that friend who's like super nice to his girl, but when he gets around the guys, he's like, "Where the bitch is at?" Or like he'll just be more of himself. And it's like, well, why is that? And I think that the manosphere is doing something that's important. Now, I'm not. There's red pill, blue pill, purple pill. Blue pill obviously like is not what you want to be. Red pill is more like you're aware of women's nature, and these people teach women's nature, and I think that's very important. So getting into relationships, most guys, what do? They try to qualify themselves for the girl. So that's the problem. And I think speaking of mental health, we go in with a scarcity mindset. So
We got a term for that. Boyfriend chameleon.
Really?
I'm okay. So my friend Pudgy calls me this, and I tell him all the time. I'm like, bro, it doesn't translate to me. Like I tell him that I'm sorry that I align myself with people that have the same interests, and he might not have those interests as I do, so it might look like I'm being a different person with other people. But I feel like there are like the chameleon type of personalities that will bend, will go and do everything they can to make this person perceive them as something they're not, that's more aligning with what they like. You know what I'm saying?
I feel because I've had that in a girlfriend before. And I don't I see why I do that shit.
It's kind of like me. Like if I just got with somebody who is like like all religious, and I just dropped this whole Halloween thing that I liked out of nowhere, and I'm like, oh no, that's not my thing. Like that's like chameleon to be more into try to be perceived as what they're wanting out of the partner than who you truly are.
That makes sense. I think we all kind of do that or have done that to a certain degree. I mean, that's just like we all try to go along to get along.
Yeah. There's a certain degree, like I said, I've had girls do that. Also, like I've had people do that very recently, where it's just like, that they're not into something, and you can tell. Like you can just tell that they are bullshitting this because they want to appease you. And I don't like that. I don't like that because it feels like a lie. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be in a relationship with somebody who's trying to put on a front or lie. And it's like, no, is it lying? Not technically, but it's enough for me to be like, listen, I need you to be honest. It's like if I love movies and you don't love movies, you probably need to go. It's like, because that's kind of a big thing in my life. If you're going to sit here and tolerate it and pretend only to let me know like at the last second after we've said our I do's that you don't like movies and now we got to fucking deal with each other the rest of our lives. No thanks. You know what I mean? One of those situations.
I get that. I just think that guys, man, they automatically put themselves below a woman as soon as they start to get to know them. And I've done this too multiple times, like where you try to qualify yourself for her. So she has all the power. Now, of course, I'm just stating it bluntly. So there's a lot of nuance in all these subjects. It's a lot of this and that and direction. But like for the most part, we all do that. And we hope that she likes us. When really what this manosphere is teaching, and I don't agree with every single little thing. I'm more purple pill. I think that men should be aware of women's nature and their nature, but I still want a partner. I have my girlfriend, you know what I mean? I love her to death, and we're great together. And I feel like that's the safe route because we all want to connect. We all want somebody that's going to be there when you're sick. You know, I don't want my boys. I didn't call you Chase and Shep when I was sick, you know. I called her and she came in and she was nurturing. So
hey Chase checked up on me when I had the COVID. So he
well,
hit me up and be
died from
like,
that.
"Yo,
So that's a little different.
you good, my guy?" And it's like, I mean, but I get what you're saying.
No,
Yeah.
no, definitely.
Yeah, well, I just think that it should be the other way around because, like, guys, right? Think about there's all been, and I'll use myself as the example. There's been times where there's somebody you really like when I was a teenager in high school, and we seemed to like build this idea of what we could possibly be together in our head, and we live that.
Yeah.
And then we try to get them, and when they shut us down, we're depressed. Or like I remember I had a girlfriend break up with me at 16. And I was in the bed. I didn't want to do anything. I was depressed. You know, that takes a large amount of our mental health downward because of like the way we deal with stuff. And I just think that we're fundamentally unprepared just as kids, but like to deal with the other sex because we don't know how they function.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know. They don't know. And I think that when men work on themselves and then they go to a woman and have her qualified to see if she's good enough, because think about this. How a lot of people are successful in the world, but a lot of girls, and this is just an example, a lot of girls want a 1% man. So they want somebody who makes well over 6 figures, is 6 foot tall, attractive. Usually we're thinking an athlete or something like that. There's not, the average height is like 5 something. So that already makes them, not common. So people over 6 foot tall, 6 foot above. So, but like when you have these things, when you have these resources to take care of somebody and start a family, you're in demand. And that's why they sleep with the majority of the women. A lot of guys aren't out here having sex. So most men are invisible to women. And so when we're in a good place and we take care of ourselves, like you both have all these cool things going on. You have jobs, you take care of yourself, you have your own space, you have a good head on your shoulder. You're able to lead after a while, which makes you in demand because a lot of men aren't worth shit. So if we work on ourselves and then we go to get a girl and have her qualify to see if she's going to fit in our life, as opposed to doing it the other way, like we normally do, then we run into a lot less bullshit. And I know for a fact there's girls that really liked me and that I liked, but if I would have let them run the show, I wouldn't be happy because they have problems. Or they're you know, is that Phil?
Yeah.
Let's see that cock, baby. Wasn't that on Chase and wasn't that on the? Didn't we do that? Top 5 penises or something?
Top 5. No. I believe when you were on the show, it was top 5 women hot enough to kidnap.
Oh man, why do y'all let me on the show?
I don't know. We keep doing it too.
It's so fucked up.
We keep letting you come back.
No, these days getting into a relationship is tough when you're a dude. You got to look at the numbers and think even like if you're just on Tinder alone, Tinder is 70% guys, 30% women. So they're alone. Yeah, like you're saying, the dynamic is in favor of a woman going on there. She gets to call the shots.
Yep.
She gets, you know what I'm saying? And you know, one of the biggest pieces of advice I ever told dudes on there, I was like, listen, you know, if you get hung up on every person you match with on something like that, you're going to drive yourself nuts. I'm like, but girls have such a choice that if a chick matches with you and she hits you up and she's like, hey, what's up? You know, or she starts a conversation with you, those are the ones that you'll probably go on a date with and get to hang out with because, you know, they got the options, they've got the choice. And and, you know, and it also sucks being in such a, next please culture that we've got now. Like, you know, the littlest thing about somebody is like, oh man, you know, I could deal with this, or I could just get the next person. That's easy. I got 4 more people I'm talking to over here, so that's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? That's one less person I have to fuck with now. But like it is, and I've been in those shoes. You know what I'm saying? Like having the littlest thing come up and just being able like to be like, no, see, it's not going to work out. And I don't know, man. The society these days, it's wild.
Yeah, it's a really, I think as far as dating is concerned, it's a really interesting time because, like you said, you have all those things where, so women, they have all these. What is that term where they say, like, if you have an online store, if you have a shirt that you're selling, don't put too many colors, because if there's too many options, they won't choose one. What is that called?
Shit. I think it's the paradox of
can't think
choice.
of it. As soon as we get off, we'll all remember it.
I think it's the paradox of choice.
Paradox of choice. That's what it's called. So women have a paradox of choice. Mm-hmm. So, again, most men are invisible. Yeah. If you have so many choices, they usually don't choose one. Then you have the fact that women are naturally insecure based upon the way society is shaped. I mean, think about like the standard of beauty that we have is literally impossible. It's unattainable, even for guys. Like, what is it, like 4% body fat or something like that, where they want to be shredded and shit? That's not healthy. You'll die. Your organs will fail. Yeah. But that's what we're all striving to get, and that's what we're all striving to look like. And think about the insecurities. Think of for both men and women. So we're all trying to get something that doesn't exist. We all are influenced greatly by our friends, by societal standards, like you all were talking about. And nobody's happy right now. You want to talk about mental health? Everybody's depressed. Nobody's happy because nobody's where they want to be because of social media. Now everything looks, I rented a Maserati for my girl's birthday, and I'm going to buy one this year, but like, I didn't have one. And people thought they were behind me. I'm like, man, we broke. Yeah. Well, we're not broke now, but at the time we were. And so like, people don't think where they need to be in life, because at this age, they don't have this car. Like in Florida, man,
themselves to other people. Yeah,
dude, it's so much of that shit here in Florida. Like, nobody's happy, and it's because we all lost sight of how to look within ourselves and see what really makes us happy. So I think if the advice I give to guys is I tell them not to be on Tinder at all. I was on that for a day, and then I said,
that shit'll really fuck with your mental health for sure, especially depending on the kind of person you are. Like you were saying, Aaron, like, with people who get hung up on like every little person you match with or something, like, it might just come and go, man. Like, it might not be a forever thing. And what you were saying, John, about like the fantasies, when you're a teenager and you're falling in love with somebody, you start to have a fantasy and everything. Like, I've always said, when it comes to being honest with people about things, that you don't want to pent up like negative energy, for sure. That's terrible. But you also don't want to do it with good stuff either, because, yes, that fantasy feels good, but so long as that is being compacted inside of you and you are letting that build up, it could be just as bad, because now you're subscribing to something that doesn't exist. It's a fantasy. So now you're letting that build so much that by the time that reality hits, the disappointment's going to hit that much harder. So sometimes you got to have those conversations.
When I think a lot of people these days do that in the talking stages of relationships. I feel like that's just it. They, you can't, and it sucks, but these days you can't really put your faith and trust 100% into a situation until it's like in your face on, you know what I mean? So the people that, we've been hanging out here for a couple weeks, we text here and there and this and that. We're a thing, we're a thing, you're starting to build up this fantasy in your head of, don't start to me. I never start planning in the future until like we have had that conversation and we're official motherfuckers together. Then it's like, all right, cool.
There are positive emotions going through you, but like, it's, again, you just got to be mindful. You got to sometimes discuss those positive emotions the same you would negative emotions. Otherwise, they'll get you all the same in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what you're saying about making feeling like we got to qualify for the women and stuff. I was just talking to Phil about this the other day, that, I mean, that's definitely a problem that I have, that I've started to get a little better about recently, because, for the longest time I was just Mr. Hopeless Romantic, like, and to this day, I mean, it's a fact. I love love. I mean, if you want to call me an addict to anything, I would say I'm addicted to love. And I don't mean that in a corny, joking way either. I mean, like, a problem. I mean, like, I mean, it can be just as dangerous as the hardest drug,
I just think of that 80s song. Might as well face it, you're addicted to love.
Yeah. But it's true, that shit can be really bad for you if you get swept up in it, and aren't mindful of yourself and everything. And
Very much so.
doing the same things over and over again. But like the other day, I've been single for like a little over 2 years now, and like that's a milestone for me. Like there are certain people in my life that are proud of me for that fact, because it's like I was never single like my whole life. I just was always in a relationship because I loved love. I wanted to be in a relationship. i
Right.
i thrive in relationships usually. But I have now gotten to a point where I know what I want in a relationship, and I
There you
know
go.
what I don't want in a relationship, and I know what I need to do for myself, and I know that I've worked on that self-love for sure. But
Mhm.
then there's situations that come up where, like the other day, my sister's like, "Man, you need to get a girlfriend so that we can go on double dates and shit," because she's married now and everything, and she threw somebody out that I knew from high school, and I was like, "Damn, okay, like, yeah, that would be kind of cool." But then I like my mind just gets to going on it, and I talk myself into this place where like I'm not good enough for this person for the exact reasons you just named off.
Man.
I don't got no six figures. I don't, I'm like mostly a bum. I'm an artist. Like
Mhm.
that's the life that I'm pursuing. But
Yeah.
that's where I'm at in life right now, where I don't I don't want to qualify for the woman. I don't want to have all those things that other people are deeming important.
Mhm.
I want somebody who's going to support me along the way. I want somebody who sees that I'm chasing my dreams and doesn't see that as a detriment.
Yeah.
Who sees what could be and wants to go on that journey with me.
Church.
Um,
Yeah, you said it, man. You said, and
and
you met Kens. I got lucky.
yeah, yeah, you did, yeah. Uh, and I was just telling Phil as well that with that whole, like, I know I need to get to a certain place, and I feel like that's why I've been putting all my focus into this kind of work, because I know if I focus on me and doing what I want, that eventually somebody will show up who
Mhm.
has these similar interests and everything.
Yeah.
Now, I was feeling a little down and was being hard on myself, but I kept telling Phil, I'm like, I can't say, oh, nobody likes me, because people love to fall back on that. Oh, there's nobody. Why doesn't anybody like me?
Mhm.
But there is like, I know for a fact that there is at least one person that likes me, that would like to date me and stuff like that, and I'm just like, that was a situation where I had to be honest with my feelings,
How
because
old are
that's
you?
how old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 27 now.
Man,
Yeah.
you got like a million. Men don't even hit their financial peak to
Of
45.
course. Well, I'm good there.
All
But
kinds
like
of time.
so this girl, it was a matter of like, I have a problem with, like, if somebody's cool, like if I get along with somebody real well, as we're getting into a relationship or getting to know each other or something,
Mhm.
even if I don't feel those feelings, that spark, that feeling you should have when you truly love somebody, I will try to make it work, because for whatever reason I feel obligated, because like I don't want to hurt this other people's feelings.
Why would
But
you do that?
now I'm to a point in life where I recognize that that's only worse. And
Oh,
so for
okay.
the past couple of years, like, that's why I've been single for so long now, is like I'll go on a date with somebody and just be like, it's not there for me. You're really awesome, but like people love to they love to. They don't really love to, but they do it by default. They take shit personally.
Yeah.
And that was most definitely the most recent case of like, it has nothing to do with you. And they were even like, well, maybe we could have talked and I could have done something different. There's nothing you could have done differently than short of being an entirely different person. And I'm
Yeah.
never going to ask somebody to change like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're fine the way you are. You need to find somebody who loves you just that way, you know?
Did you hear what you just said though? Like even what you were saying shows some of that dynamics that people need to know.
Mhm.
So like right there, you were in a power position. And this is gonna sound like really, I don't want to say misogynistic or
I
like
mean, you're not wrong,
sexist.
because she said those exact words. She said that I was in the power position
You
because
are, and she
I
doesn't
I
want that.
had and but I didn't like it either. And I told her, I was like, I'm not interested in this.
Well,
Like, I'm
you
not
have
interested
to.
in having that kind of power. And I had multiple conversations of how I felt. And then that's when, certain things come into play, where it's like, I'm looking at this relationship, and a very important question was asked. Hey, we gave the X warning at the beginning. So if anybody knows who, if somebody's watching this and is like, that's me, sorry.
Yeah.
But I had this conversation of like, I don't think I have these feelings. I had that conversation 2 times before we tried to give it a go, and then I finally had to be like, no, I just don't have these feelings. It is what it is, and we gotta mosey on. um
Yeah.
but fuck, where was I going with this? Oh, but I did feel like I asked a very important question, and I think I may have mentioned this a few weeks ago on the show. Of I asked, why do you think we would be a good couple? Like, what makes you think we would have a good relationship?
Mm.
And the answer that I got was just compliments about myself, things that she liked about me, which kind of answered my question, which in my head, I already thought she likes me, like the idea of me more than the reality of what our relationship would be.
Yeah.
And as this continued, I noticed that the reality was still there. And it was one of those things where this was more about her than it was about me. This is something that she wants, and it's not really taking me into consideration. I'm just an object of desire at this point. Whether that's how she sees it or not, that's exactly what the case was.
And she's
And
still going to desire you.
and it
You're
is
even
what it is.
sexier now.
I've
Because
been working on,
well, no, I mean, I
but
think I'm attracted to you. I desire you, but I'm just saying, like, she also, the fact that you turned her down, that power position isn't like, so you're going to need that power position
well,
in a
and even
relationship.
that right there is something that like I notice, because it's like, I've listened to you over the years, John. Of
Yeah.
like, of like, there's this thing of like when a girl dates guys who are such pieces of shit all the time, who do the rejection and all this stuff,
Mm,
and uses that power in that sense to actually like hold that power over their head. I'm
mm,
somebody that knows I have the power, and I don't want that shit. I'm just like, you need to understand, like, when I'm telling you no, I ain't doing it to get your panties wet. I'm telling you to fuck off. Like, I'm telling you
yeah.
that this ain't what this is, and you
It's
just need
natural
to
though.
accept that. And like, I would rather have a genuine friendship than to spoil that shit with feelings. Like, I've gotten to a point in life where like I have to really look at the feelings I'm feeling before I end up in another situation, because like all my mental health issues have come from having a big heart over the years and just getting myself into situation after situation.
Yeah.
I've looked around recently at people that I love in my life, who just date the same motherfuckers over and over and over again. And I was just saying earlier that I used to be one of those people where it's like I'm dating the same bitch every time. It's just like, and over and
Yeah.
over and over again, I'm putting myself in the same situation, and I finally had to back up
Yeah.
and remove myself from the situation and look for that specifically.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I think women do it for an entirely different reason than guys. I mean, I feel what you're saying, but like there's always that one girl that's like, she'll post on Facebook, I finally left him and he wasn't
mhm,
shit and he had 3 kids, and then the next guy is worse or the same.
yeah,
And it's because like there's that nature that women have, and women, there's certain qualifications. Like the first thing we say when we see a girl, probably that you heard me say, was, damn, look at her ass, or she look good, or she looks good. It's
mhm,
because we process the world through our eyes. Women
yeah,
process it through their ears. And even though they appreciate a good looking man, there's other things that are more important to her. Just like a nice ass and a nice smile and a nice face and titties are important to us. For them, it's like they need security. They need, does he have the ability to have good sex with me? Does he have the ability to protect me? When is a woman most vulnerable? It's when she's pregnant. So when she is throwing a fit in the relationship for no reason, just blowing something out of proportion, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? And we can't stand up to her. We look weak. You know what I mean? So women are always looking. They have a nature. We're all animals still. So we still have this dance that we all do. And I think that women, unfortunately, because of the way society set up, because of socialization, they go to men that are pieces of shit because they pass what we call their shit test. That's them acting a fool whenever they get an attitude. You say, mind your business, bitch. Or you say, whatever you say when you don't care,
right,
that you pass that test that they have. It's a natural inclination they have to be towards somebody that can protect them from physical danger. But it's not necessarily, maybe they're a drug dealer or something like that. So you have the resource, you have they're cheating on you. So you have what's called social proof, which shows that they are resourceful, they're in value. No guy that doesn't have anything is fucking a bunch of bitches. So even if you're broke, if you have the ability to protect, if you have, like, guys have it a little bit easier than girls in that regard. But if you have, like, I didn't have no money, but I was still pulling. And so but it was a lot of other things that came into play. The potential future is what the woman's looking at. So when they're looking at these guys, unfortunately, because of socialization, The drug dealer, man, he's cool. He's got clout. He's got girls, which means that he's more attractive because women are attracted to men other women are attracted to. These are the guys that, especially if you cheat on them. You know, a woman's never, I don't know if we said this in the last one, but a woman's never left a guy because he cheated. Not once. Not one time. Have I told you that, Chase?
No, I don't think so.
So, Shep, I haven't said it to you then, Shep, but the reason for that is because, again, that's principle number one. Women are attracted to men that other women are attracted to. So you prove that true when you cheat on them. You know what I'm saying? So now the way your values went up and the way she feels about herself is here. So what she does is she then tries to assassinate your character. And I'm not saying this so anybody can go manipulate. I don't believe in lying or being deceptive and all that shit. I believe in having good character. I'm not perfect, but I think that character matters. Integrity matters. So anyway, what she does is if she assassinates your kid, what's the first thing she's gonna say? She's gonna be like, nigga, you broke, you only got one testicle, your mama stank. You know, she's gonna say whatever she can to like bring you down to the way that she feels about herself. But if you're able to not let her do that, then she can't leave emotionally. She can leave because people break up, but guess when she gets drunk and she's at that party, girl, why are you in the bathroom on the phone? Why are you crying? She's on the phone trying to make it work or trying to, you know, nigga, you ain't shit, I hate you. Because it's the emotional aspect. Women are emotional and they need those emotions engaged. So when you have toxic men, unfortunately, because of the way society's shaped, you have all these things that play into their nature because women aren't logical because or else they just be like, well, that doesn't make sense. My girl's logical, but again, I'm lucky. And so she's like, I just love him. I don't know. I don't know. I just love him. I don't know. And she can't leave. She doesn't have the closure to leave.
Yeah, I feel that. Okay.
How does this?
Hey, the man's got a PhD. We can't fucking argue.
I got a pimp and hose degree.
Pimp and hose degree. I thought it stood for a pretty huge dick. Shout outs to Kanye.
Unfortunately, I only have about 20 inches. So it's not that big.
Oh, modest. He's modest. Modest over there.
I'm just kidding. No, my girl's upset right now, so I'm gonna pay for everything I just said when I get off. But she knows. We talked about all that. We have these conversations, but it's important, I think, because these divorces that come into play, those are enacted by women. They're women initiate that. The man will stick in a relationship. All three of us can say that we've done this. We were with somebody who we didn't want to be with, Chase. Chase, and yet we tried to make it work. You know what I'm saying? Because like we can deal with the bare minimum. You can throw us in a basement and throw scraps at us. As long as we have enough to survive to the next day, we're good. But like women, if they're bored, you can do anything to a woman but bore her. If she's bored, she'll lose attraction for you. If you lose your job, she can lose attraction for you. If she has to, gender roles are real. Fuck what these feminist bitches say. Because if you aren't in that male gender role to where you can provide, nigga.
I just heard a message come into our inbox.
But like,
fuck feminists.
Listen, I've been divorced twice. Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and the first one, yeah, okay. I mean, but that was just like I was trying. Right. I mean, we don't have to dive deep down into the aspects of it, but the first one, I was well over it by the time she finally was like, "All right, here's these papers. You need to sign them." I was like, "Thank you, finally." Yeah. But the second one was a lot, of me too. So I mean, I don't know about the women don't always bring up the divorce because the second one had a lot of issues. It was very quick marriage. We only knew each other for a few months.
Oh, you told me about that one.
Yeah, you would say dumb kids, but we were 30, so go figure. But it gets certain things get to a point, bro. And I knew that one was to a point that I was like, nah. I'm done.
Yeah, well, most women, not everybody. So
no, I mean, not everybody fits into the.
I've definitely said before. I forget what time. I think when Tony was around once, and you were John. You were going on something, and you left, and he's looking at me like, "What the fuck?" Well, I'm like, "Listen, the man's done a lot of research. Like, I don't agree with every word that comes out of John's mouth, but I don't have to. Like, we've known each other for a long time. Like you said, your character speaks volumes. I mean, you've always been somebody that I would want in my corner.
I appreciate it.
The shit came down to it. You've always been a great friend. But does that mean I agree with every fucking word that comes out of your mouth? No. There's sometimes you say some shit that I'm like, oh god, it's like we're gonna get canceled by association. You ask like, why do you keep bringing me on the show? It's like Russian roulette, bud. We just want to see. We just want to see. This will probably be the one that did it. We knew we were.
This is how we get our
water.
thrills over here.
Yeah.
Well, think about this too. People, so I realized this from the last job, and we don't have to go in super in depth, but like the last job I was in, people want to be slaves. Some people want to feel bad. There's even in mental health, being in the some people don't feel right when they're not depressed or when they're not anxious or something like that.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that that's right, but
you just get so used to it. You get so used to being depressed or anxious that if you're not, you're probably going to feel weird.
Exactly.
So back to that because that's your normal.
All right. So both of you all shook your head in agreement when I was talking about. Of course, when I said nobody's ever left a man because he cheated, everybody's like, "Well, what the fuck are you talking about?" But like when you break it down, everybody's like, "Okay, well that makes sense." And we've all seen the drunk girl at the party call the boyfriend who beats her or calls the boyfriend who cheated on her.
No, I shook my head because I was thinking like in my head I was like, yo, I've never cheated on anybody. And I'm like, maybe that's why all these motherfuckers keep leaving me.
No, I mean the girl. I don't know about.
I was about to say the same thing. I don't beat. I don't cheat. I don't do none of that shit. But when I was talking about the worth thing earlier, the girl gets brought up to me, and I'm thinking, oh shit, this is what I do. I got a motherfucker crashing in my living room, this, that, the other. It's like she doesn't want none of that, and it's just like. But I know my character. Like I know who I am as a person, as opposed to these other people that, she probably would check up with, who would beat her, cheat on her, do this, do that. And that's when you start talking about things like this, and like you're just a very blunt guy. You just don't give a fuck about how you phrase it.
No, I swear it's not that.
When you like with you, anytime it's like if I actually listen to you, because I'm a big believer. Human beings, it's all patterns. You can predict people down to the fucking core. Like, it's the people who see it that can remove themselves from it, But when you start talking about things like this, I've heard you say so much shit over the years that like I've also seen it in play. So it's like it's hard to fucking argue with you on certain things when I see the proof in day-to-day life almost all the time.
Well, so I mean, I don't know who sent the message that you were talking about, that inbox you all, but I mean, for those who just think I'm some drunk asshole, which is partially true, but I do have a master's degree in the science of psychology, and I have 6 years of in-field research. So, and I wrote papers on this. So, I mean, like even though I can't stop playing around all the time, but I actually have some, not only in my own life, but I've seen in other people's, I've done actual scientific research on this. So like, back to what I was saying about like the people don't like the truth, and some like when I say things bluntly, I don't mean to say it. But we can all acknowledge it, but we don't like when we are hit in the face with reality because it fucks with the way we perceive things. So like my job that I was talking about, people want to be slaves. There was some shit going on, and I spoke out against it, and they were mad at me for trying to do what's right or trying to say that this shouldn't be this way. So there's going to be people who. Feminism is everybody who believes that women should have equal rights and all that shit is a feminist. Okay, we're all feminists then. But like now feminism is insanity. And it's like a far left ideology. It's like a belief system. It's a religion where, where women have power that they not only don't deserve, need, or really want. So like what you did the right thing, Chase. With the girl that you were talking to, you said, I'm not really feeling it. Let me just be honest with you. You showed integrity, you showed character. But that's also the thing too, because women are qualifying men, because if they go out on a date, they can get raped, they can get killed. They're in a lot more danger than we are. So when she qualified you and you qualified her and said you're not good enough, it played a little bit into her insecurity, but that showed where you are, that you have options. You didn't operate from a scarcity mindset. You operated from an abundance mindset, because even though you don't have a bunch of girls lined up, in the future, you know that if you keep doing what you're doing a great job at, you too, Shep, then everything's going to fall in line. And women see that and they're like, okay, I want somebody who doesn't need me, because women like to need, but they don't want to be needed. They love needing. They're women. They're emotional. That's what they operate out of. But if we say that, then I'm a fucking pig, and I don't mind.
No, for real. To me, it goes back to what you were first saying when you were talking about guys, because it goes like that. When you work on yourself a lot, and then you realize what you want out of life, what you're going to want out of that potential partner if you do come across them, then it
Mhm.
becomes you become the deciding factor instead of somebody else. You're not
Mhm.
overlooking certain aspects or, well,
Yep.
but this, I'll let that slide. We'll see how it goes. Maybe she'll change her mind on this. No, you're not doing that kind of stuff anymore. You're establishing some boundaries for yourself, and you're saying, hey, that ain't for me. And just like you're saying, John, a lot of that does play into that. That
Yeah.
does create more attraction based on that. But
Mhm.
I mean, when you're established, when you're firming a boundary, it doesn't matter. But that
True.
could always, but as a man, that could also play in your favor. You know what I'm saying? If you're
Yeah.
out and you're not paying attention to that kind of shit. That's happened to me before in the past of just being at a party, having, doing me, enjoying my time with my homies, but they were all hitting on one girl, everybody. I
Mhm.
was not, because I was just vibing. A lot of people I ain't seen in a minute. And
Yeah.
what was the cause, what was the end of all that was that girl came up and, hey,
Yep.
how come you're not trying to holler at me? Well,
Yeah.
I'm just vibing, dude. I'm doing my thing with my buddies. A lot of
Yep.
that does play into that because, like you said, we do derive from an animal instinct. So
Mhm.
like, even that, like there's girls I like that in a woman too, a woman that has a little bit of attitude and a little bit of a bitch. That like if she snuffs me, maybe the first time I see her, she's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever, and keeps going. I'm like, damn.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
chase. The
It's
chase
in
is
men
fun.
too.
I
It's in,
couldn't
yeah, for sure.
sometimes it just depends on what it is, really.
That's
You know
true.
what
Hey,
I'm saying?
watch this. Watch this. Ken, speak up loud enough so they can hear you. We were talking about going out to eat tomorrow, right? Or getting some to-go food. What do you want to eat?
Hey, fuck off.
What do you want to eat?
I don't know. Shut
Did you
up.
hear her? She says she doesn't know. So women don't even know what they want to eat. They don't know what they want sexually. Women don't know what they want. So man, come on, can I make a joke? So, see, I shouldn't have did that. But I'm the luckiest guy ever. But most
For real.
women,
She deals with your ass, you're lucky.
Thank you.
so
Well,
no,
no, but I vibe with that. I think a lot of people don't know what they want, and I think
yeah,
that this the society we built on this boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, everything at our fingertips now is
Mm,
gotten people turned on to a reality that's not really existing.
Yeah.
It doesn't
exactly,
really exist in real life, but they see,
exactly.
because, and it was, I don't know if we've brought this up on the show, but it was something I saw probably like Snapchat or something more recently that I was shocked. It was like the pop lady Billie Eilish talking about how she
Mm.
thinks being exposed to like pornography at a very young age warped her entire view of what she thought sex was and shit like that.
Oh, 100%.
Oh
Because
yeah. A lot of
you're
people say that, romance movies make I won't say women and men both will watch romance movies and think, oh, that's love, just as
yeah.
people will watch porn and be like,
Yeah,
that's sex. And it's like it's all make believe. It's all just fantasy.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
think the
yeah.
the over dramaticness and the hitting
Mhm.
around, spitting in each other's. I think spitting in each other's mouth is fucking nasty, and I'll go on record and say it. I've had one woman be like, "Spit in
That's
my
funny.
mouth," and I was just like, I don't. I will,
No
but like
offense.
in the future, not my thing. I don't really want my spit, and like I get it. We're
Oh
gonna
god.
kiss, and it's there anyway, but
I'm turned on, Shep. Let's keep talking. I'm turned on. Ready to
I'm just
go.
saying, like, like to me, and it's been like that because, like, I feel like, to me, when you're getting into like the whole sex talk of things, it's always like
Yeah.
nice to get with somebody, and then you get
Mhm.
comfortable with them to do whatever you guys feel like fucking doing, And
Mhm.
but like a lot of like to me, it was like how much they've tried to sell you on sex every day. It's in your face and everything, music, media, all over the fucking place, fucking magazines and fucking
Mhm.
newspapers and
Oh yeah.
shit still, and
100%.
Yeah, a lot of that plays a big
a
part.
lot of people into that. I'm just like, man, like I just feel like that's where you're going to get yourself into a situation where you're in the middle of it and you're like, this ain't me. I don't think I fucking dig this. And you're fucking balls deep somewhere. You might not have the chance to get up out of there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Well, like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
so you were just saying, before about like the situation that I found myself in, and I checked to see, do you qualify back, and saying that, I didn't find her good enough.
Right.
Well, in this situation, it's actually one of those things where I think that's what I'm saying when people take shit too personally, where it's like, it's something I wanted to make very clear to this person is that she was good enough. Like, I mean, there was a checklist of if I wanted a girlfriend, she met a lot of those things. She hit a lot of those
She
boxes.
wasn't good enough.
But at the end of the day, you know, that
Stop
feeling,
being nice.
if that feeling, you're being an ass.
I
but
love you. I love you to death. Stop being nice.
it's true. Listen, she is good enough. She really is. But she's got to find somebody who's going to appreciate certain things about it. Like I said, I'm not going to ask somebody to change for me like that because that's fucked. You should be who you are, and you
Right.
should find somebody who's going to love you for who you are.
Mhm.
Because you can have, and it just goes to show, you can have all the greatest qualities in the world. You can hit every box on somebody's checklist and still not be the right person for them. You know, and it's shit like that where then next thing you know, you find somebody like myself who starts like, oh, well, maybe I should try to make this work because, you know, like, what the fuck is wrong with me if she's got all these qualities? I'm like, oh, well, you know, no thanks, you know, but it
See,
can't be like that because
I think
I love you to death.
a lot of times it just don't work, you know what I'm saying? But like to me, like I caught myself doing that when I was a little bit younger and living in that life and living in those situations. And to me, like when I did the introspection, realizing just like society and you know the pressure did, I did a little thing, man, where I would purposely because I've you know you said you tell dudes to get away from Tinder, but Tinder's always treated me very well. I don't know
Mhm.
what it is, but maybe it's just my bubbly personality or
Oh yeah.
the
it's the
fact that
long
I got
hair.
like the long hair dyed. I fit in with the you know the younger people and maybe they're doing assumptions too based off how I
And
look.
you take great pictures.
I do, man. I take
You
some
take
good
awesome
selfies.
pictures.
But like I kept finding like you know with the way society was based on a lot of this was hinging on sex. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I started purposely like when I would hang out with girls that I meet on Tinder, I wouldn't try to have sex with them until I
Mm.
got to know them. And then I was realizing like a lot of these girls after the first date, they wouldn't come back. They'd be ghost mode and they'd be gone because well,
Yeah.
I was really coming through to have sex and you didn't even try and I
Right.
thought you didn't like me and it's like it's quite the opposite, my dude. Like I enjoyed our time, but I'm trying to get to know you and then we'll bring that upon and I you know cuz that's to me all my little heartbreaks back in my days, that's where a lot of that came into play because a lot of that can go in your mind when you're getting into a relationship with somebody and they are trying to spend time and tell you you're great and
Yeah.
they're coming over and you're having sex and you're doing everything and then at the end of the day though when you're like but like so this is going somewhere they're like no I don't like you like that. It's like
Mhm.
you know a lot of these people for me it's been like we would have been perfectly great friends had they not taken the sex step. It's like well you know I wasn't trying to have sex with somebody because I don't fuck my buddies like that personally.
Mhm.
But a lot of that came into play then. So
Yeah. No, I
I
feel you.
don't
I
know,
think
man.
I
I
think
know I'm saying like that was me. I grew my lessons and I
yeah.
learned, and that was just something I learned from
Simple.
for myself. And like that's where I'm at these days,
Yeah.
especially these days. Like, yeah, ain't nobody sliding through and fucking on the first date with me no more. Like your
Yeah.
boy's got some class, I got some style, you know,
Right.
like I'm up
Yeah.
top now. I'm top shelf liquor. You know what
No,
I'm
that's
saying?
awesome. That's
Well, you
awesome.
know, with this previous example I was trying to give, no matter who you are, man or woman, you got to know your worth. And
True.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of people leave shitty relationships and be like, oh, you know, fuck this list of things. I don't want this in a relationship anymore. Right. But
Right.
then you have a situation like this where it's like, okay, well, now you found somebody who doesn't treat you these ways. That's why you like this person, is because, okay, they're kind to you. They do this, they do that, they do this. They're doing things that this other fucking dickhead doesn't do. And that's why you like this person.
Mhm.
But when that falls apart,
You don't
it's
like
like
this
this
person.
opposite
Yeah.
effect of like, okay, well, now I feel worthless because that person didn't want me. So now you're going back to the shit people when it's like, no. Grow forward, man. Like, take that and go, oh shit, there are people like that out there.
Right.
You know, when they say there are other fish in the sea, Phil and I were saying this the other day, there are other fish in the sea, but there's also a lot of the same types of fish. So you're going to have to change up the type of fish you fucking go and see. You know what I mean? If you're still catching the same fucking fish every time, you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it's like
get
it's
this.
still the same type of fish. Go get yourself something different.
Get this, right? So one thing that we have to that I think men like overall fundamentally should understand is that women are more often than not. See, my woman is really logical, but she also is emotional. So every now and then I get some girl shit, but for the most part, she's like like talking some sense and shit. But like women are gonna react emotionally. That's just what they do. They need their emotions engaged. It's life is a game to them, and they want to play. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things is that yes, there's other fish in the sea, but the fish are the women. The men are sport fishermen. So what they do is when we're on Tinder or doing this or meeting people at the bar, we're catching the fish, but the girlfriend is the fish that won't get the fuck off the boat. So one day, you're talking to the fish looks over and is just like, "You love me?" And the fisherman's like, "Yeah, I love you, fish." And she's gonna be like, "All right, well, since you love me, why the fuck do you have this boat and this bait and this fishing pole? Why do you still have that if you love me?" And it's like, "Well, I'm a fisherman. This is what I do, is go and catch other fish." And then the fish gives you an ultimatum and says, "Well, you would get rid of that if you love me. I'm the only fish you're going to need." And then one day when there's an argument, the fish is going to say, "You ain't even got a boat." And so I think that one of the things that's important is, yeah, we can go ahead but you're talking, first off, you're talking to two high level guys, and we can talk sense, but women, man, they're gonna feel their way through a situation. We're gonna logic our way through our emotions, and they're gonna feel their way through their emotions, and they'll say, maybe this is what I deserve. And the thing that you said, I love you to death. I love you guys, but Chase, I'm not with these other bitches. I'm with Kenzie, and it's because they weren't good enough. Now, it doesn't mean that that I don't like them as people. It doesn't mean that they're not worthy. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm saying. I'm not trying to get crazy.
Right. They're not good enough for you. Like they're
not good enough.
Meet your standards, but
you're not good enough.
That's my exact problem. I don't like doing that shit to people. I don't like making people feel like they're not, because that's a problem enough as
Are
is.
They gonna fight?
Man, woman, we might have to.
No, but I mean, like, I get that though. Like I vibe with that so much more. Like that to me is like when you can have that real conversation with somebody and they just tell you that, like, you ain't it for me. Like you ain't it.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
very hard. Yeah,
it's a tough thing to hear, but it's so much better because like it's like, everybody is not for everybody, and that's just in general in any sort of relationship, friends, even family. Sometimes you're like, you grow apart from them because your just interests don't align, and that just ain't your shit no more. And that's why it's just like, I would rather it, to me, in my own personal experience, it always fucked with my head more when they're like, no, you're perfect. Like Chase, like you were explaining, like if someone had told me like you hit everything on my list, but no. And I'd be like, but that, to me, I would not be able to wrap my head around that one.
Exactly.
Now, had they just been like, it's just like, I'm not saying you're not a bad person, you're a bad person, you're a great person. I vibe with you. We're great friends, but just as far as dating goes, like in my eyes, you ain't it. And I know that. Why waste time? I would respond, I feel like, a little bit easier.
I feel you.
Yeah. And you did it I think you did it the right way. I think it was very mature, because most people
I do too.
Because I'll say those are the, like, of any breakup I've gone through, the hardest ones I've ever gone through are those breakups where, like, over the past few years, as I've gotten to a point in my life where, like, I know, okay, I'm in a position that I've been in before. I'm going to do the same shit. I got to do something different. Like, I know I need to remove myself from a toxic situation or whatever, what have you. But when it comes down to a relationship that's just not it, I've had those breakups where, like, I've looked her right in the eye and just been like, I wish one of us did something fucked up. I wish one of us cheated or did something, because then this breakup would be so much easier on both ends, because then we could fucking hate each other and go our separate ways. We could be like, good, fuck you, we're breaking up. But no, it's just one of those things where it just is what it is. It ain't working. It ain't for us, and that sucks, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to move past it. And it feels weird, and it's kind of like what you said earlier about the whole almost wanting to feel miserable. When you've got depression and anxiety all the time, and then you don't, it feels weird, right? So it's like, I remember one time I got some, like, road rage, and then I just immediately told myself, like, the fuck you doing? Like, calm down. And I calmed down, but then it felt weird that I wasn't just being angry about some shit. But it's like, that just goes to show that we program ourselves to say, oh, this is normal, this is what's normal, and then you act a certain way. It's like, at the end of the day, I truly did care about this person. I still do. I'm just like, listen, I fuck with you as a person. I like hanging with you, and if that's what you want to do, that's cool with me, but this isn't this is how I feel, and I'm going to be honest.
But
That's
that's a problem
my
too.
number one is I got to be honest at the end
Oh
of the day.
yeah, you do
That's a
got to
problem
be
too,
honest.
though, because like, and Shep, I think you might disagree with this one, but I don't believe that men and women can be friends. I don't genuinely believe that. Now I do have a couple people like my friend Sophie. You know Sophie.
Yeah.
I think you both know Sophie,
Mhm.
but that's like my best friend of all time. But that's like I categorize him as family.
Right.
My friend Isabella, who's married to my friend Kahija, that's family. You know what I mean? So I think it's either family or fucking. It's got to be one of the two. Like,
Well, see, I think that's what I say. I think it depends on circumstances. I think I think to me it more so depends on sexual attraction. If you meet somebody of the opposite sex and you both share no sexual attraction to one another, I think you can have a friendship. But I think if one or the both of you share sexual attraction, the friendship will always be try to steer towards the relationship, and it'll just never be that.
I agree with that,
agree.
but I actually agree with what John's saying too, because I almost said those words verbatim last night in regards to some friends of mine, because that's how I realized that you and I have known each other for 10 years now. It's because I was thinking on other people in my life who have been around that long, and like specifically, some of my female friends. I was hanging out with two of my favorite people the other day. My two of my favorite friends who are women, and like you just said, I told Phil, I'm like, these two are more than friends to me. They are like family. Like they are truly like family. They put in time. Like they've always been there. They're always gonna be there. Like, there's definitely a whole other level to that for sure. Yeah.
But as far as like I think I noticed it too, and I had to be honest with myself because I had a lot of female friends, and even though I wasn't attracted to them, Kenzie would point out like, if they had the chance, they would. And I was like, man, you know what? Maybe that's true, because you think about things that they said, or maybe certain situations, not the one that she might think I'm talking about right now, but like, that's not how we function. So like, I don't have any friends that are girls. She doesn't have any friends that are guys. Because they're always waiting around. Either both of them are attracted to each other, or somebody's attracted to somebody, or else there's really no reason to, unless they're like family, there's really no reason for them to be around. And I remember like she had a friend, it didn't become like an issue or nothing like that, because she's a truly extraordinary woman. And when I'm telling you, like, she's perfect. And I wouldn't be with her if she wasn't who she was. She's just incredible all around. I can talk about her all day. But she had a friend, and I was just like, I bet he has a crush on you. And she was like, if he's tried to get with me before, and I wasn't about it. She wasn't attracted to him. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're not attracted to him, but he's attracted to you, and that's a problem. Delete him. And so, like, that's why, like, when we're talking about like girls and shit like that, I think if you're in a relationship, she has social media, but I don't think that girls should have social media if they're in a relationship, because what it often comes down to is them posting scantily clad photos of themselves, advertising themselves to other men. And then there's like even this joke that goes around on TikTok. You may have seen it, where the guy's packing up his car and it's like, babe, where you going? You said that you had a boyfriend. And she was like, yeah, I told him that I was in a relationship. But that's the thing. Why would you respond unless you wanted a response? So it doesn't matter. Like all the girls, I've hit on girls and they left me on red. They didn't say anything because they genuinely were not interested. But there's always another dynamic. There is nature at play. And if you allow your girl to, I'm not saying that they can't have social media. Again, my girl has social media, but she doesn't post like ass pics. She doesn't post.
No, you can tell. No, you can tell, and you can tell.
Exactly.
It's 2022. We can tell. There's a lot of attention seeking that is done on the social media, and a lot of those. And I think, again, like I said, a lot of that is just society. The society said that is cool. That is what we all want. That's what we all expect. And a lot of it's like, and a lot of it is that you're giving off an image. And like me and my ex, we had this too. We had this talk because it's like, you're presenting this image out there. And she's like, but I'm not single. I'm not going to hit on them. I'm like, but like, yeah, but yet you can't let your social media image reflect that you're not single. You know what I'm saying? It's got to reflect like you are single, because you might lose likes, you might lose follows, and that's, to me, that's whack. And
So
then
I just don't fuck with it at all.
no, and then it goes back into like you were saying, with one of my exes. I remember an argument that we got into because it's like showing me something on her phone, and and she was like offhand just mentioned to me, yeah, one of my friends asked me tonight if I'd have a threesome with him and his wife. And I'm like,
He's
that's
wild.
well, and I go, well, that's weird. That's a weird message just to hit
Yeah.
somebody with. And
Yeah.
she's like, well, I mean, it was like, we were talking about some other stuff and it just kind of got brought up. And I'm like, well, what else were you talking about? And
Yeah.
like, she's like, well, he asked me if I've ever, been with another woman, been in a threesome, this kind of stuff. And I'm like, and being in a relationship, you didn't think right there at that point just to be like, hey man, this ain't cool to talk about. I'm, like, you don't need to do. I was like, he could be sitting at the other end of his phone jerking off to your responses, like getting off to this kind of stuff. And here you're having this conversation like it's cool. And
Some
it's
guys are into that. He
no, and
might
that's
be.
what I'm saying. There are them weird motherfuckers, and you can usually tell. I feel like as a dude, whenever I've been in relationships as a dude, you can tell when other people are into your partner, and as a
Yeah.
woman, she can tell when other people are into you pretty easily,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
of the same sex. That same girl when we first started dating, she had a friend. You know what I'm saying? He'd always hit her up, and she told him one night that she was telling me yeah, I tell him about you, and I told him that me and you were dating and this and that, and then he got mad at her because me and her were out eating dinner together, and he's like, I asked you to go have dinner and you said no, you weren't feeling that, and you're out eating dinner with him. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but I thought like, and she's like, he's just my friend, it ain't nothing like that. I'm like, yeah, but when he was like, let's go out and eat dinner, did he invite the both of us out to go eat dinner? Like, if he's your friend, doesn't he want to meet me, the person that you're dating and that you think is cool to,
Yeah.
being a,
Right.
you can always tell these things. And it's like, nah, he's trying to just get you out.
Yeah. Exactly. And
I,
he's sitting in the friend zone trying to wait till you piss her off or something to come and listen to the story. What happened? Girl, I told you he wasn't shit. Niggas ain't shit, man. What you saying, Chase?
I was just gonna say, like, with the friend thing, that there is this issue as well of, like, because I do like agree on like, to a certain extent on some of this, but like for me, like, I know that like a few of my like best and closest friends are women. I've always been a guy who's always gravitated more towards women, growing up with
My
sisters,
man.
shit like that. Like I was actually just thinking yesterday how this is probably the most consistent group of male friends I've ever had in my life. At this point in my life, I'm finally here. I finally made it. I got guy friends.
Right on.
So that aren't Phil. Phil's been putting in work though forever.
Mhm.
So, but a relationship I was in, I'd say the last toxic relationship I was in that I'm like, no mas.
No
Uh,
mas.
she was one that like actively broke down things that I worked on myself for a couple of years, and this girl made it her fucking job to dismantle all that work.
Yeah.
It's almost like she got off on it. But one
Yeah.
big thing with her was that like she made me stop talking to a lot of these people, and these were people who I'd known this chick I was dating for like a month. I'd known these people for 10 years or more. Like these are people that if something was going to happen, I think something would have happened by now. And it's like, and even if something did happen, that shit's far back in the past, in high school or some shit, that it's like it's not even anything we think about anymore. We're just homies, and that fucked up a lot of good friendships I had. A lot
Yep.
of, and I've heard that on both ends, men and women being in relationships where the partner's like, oh, no more, no more. Like, I don't care who they are to you. You're not seeing them because they got different genitalia than you. And that's that. And I think that's kind of fucked. I do hear what you guys are saying, like from a certain standpoint, because you can tell. You can tell. You can definitely tell the difference between somebody who's a close friend and somebody who's trying to wait in the wings and
Yeah.
swoop in,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends. I think the dynamic changes. I think so. For men, women don't like that they have female friends, but they don't like it in a jealous way. Like jealousy implies value. So if they find you valuable, they don't want to lose you to another woman, but it's also a turn on for them. They love that shit because women are attracted to men that other women are attracted to. If another woman doesn't think that your man looks good or that your man got it going on, they're going to start looking at their man and being like, the fuck am I with this nigga for? Women are very, very social creatures too. So like when they like a guy, they're gonna go ask their friends, "What do you think about him?" A girl. So that's the way they are. We, on the other hand, are a little different. guys, I think, need to be in the power position because we actually care. And to bring what you were just saying up, women are naturally evil, and they're naturally evil. I'm not saying it to be an asshole, but they're naturally evil in that it's not malicious. It's no malicious intent for what they're going to do. You ever been with a girl that she broke up with you and it was just like, you know, hey, I'm not feeling it anymore. We should probably break up. And she's just so casual, and you're like, what? What do you mean? You're broken. It's happened to me.
Yeah.
You know,
that's like every relationship almost.
Yeah.
Man. So, but and it's been, you know, things have been weird for a minute, but it's like, man, you know, we maybe she stopped answering texts. Maybe the texts are a little bland. Maybe we haven't hung out as much. Maybe we haven't had sex much. But then all of a sudden, it's, you know, she doesn't want to be with you anymore. And then next thing you know, you hear from somebody who's a mutual friend that she's been dealing with this other person. Mm-hmm. So like, you know, that's how women are when their emotions are gone. It's like almost psychopathic to where they don't care. It's not that they don't appreciate you or care about you. They don't give a fuck about how you feel. And that's like real. So like when we're in that power position and we're vetting them, then it's best because we actually care. We actually want the relationship to work out, whereas they are there. It just depending on the woman. See, I don't got to worry about. I got the best woman in the world, but like I think that let me praise her. Praise. She got her headphones on, but like you know, she's amazing. I really don't have to worry about that stuff with her. But like generally speaking, most women, of course, there's like, you know, millions and millions of good women out there, but like most women are playing the game. And so like they act like this, and you have to watch out for all these things. So I think that men should go ahead, Shep.
Well, I was going to say, I think this is a lot of people, because I've gotten with the people that they're just with you waiting for the level up. You know what I'm saying? For that next best thing. You're just holding.
It's called monkey branching. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're just the holdover or the bounce back. You know what I'm saying? Like my last relationship, I was the bounce back from the long relationship. You know what I'm saying? I was the confidence boost to get back out there in the world and do your thing again. And that's fine. You know, like these are all, they happen, you know, in my opinion. It's like, fuck, you find yourself in this position. You're like, God damn it.
Yeah. I think I just figured out what we're talking about next week.
What was that?
For relationships. I just know a lot of people on both sides, men and women, who find themselves in positions with exes that keep them around. And they keep them around because they don't like being lonely. You know, I'm saying, you know, like if I get broken up with, you know, if somebody breaks up with me, breaks my heart, but they kind of keep me, you know, on a leash. They still got me, and they're gonna keep me there, and they're gonna keep going and doing their shit and living their life. But when things ain't going their way, they're gonna hit me up and be like, "Yo, what's good?" You know, and I'm there is to fill their time and to fill their soul while they're just waiting for something better to come along,
which is incredibly toxic.
It's incredibly toxic, and it's incredibly common. It is incredibly common. I mean, it is almost fucking everywhere you look. I have so many homies, men, women, like just fucking do this same shit all the time. And it's like, yo, open your eyes. Open your eyes. How long have they been doing this to you? Are they shit or get off the pot? You know, it's like, do you want to date me or no? Because it sounds like you don't. So don't keep coming back to me like this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's very blatant. Like, again, that's something that you can tell. It's patterns, you know? It's just shit like that. But I think we can get in real deep on that.
Sometimes that loneliness is where you grow.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. You got to feel that loneliness. Suck. I even heard you say this before, John, where I think you said you got to learn how to be alone. Nobody likes loneliness. Loneliness sucks, but you got to learn how to be alone.
Yeah. Men don't want to be lonely, but they want to be alone. And so like I told my girl that, like, she could be in the vent, she could be on top of the fan, but like you don't always want somebody in your face. And this is a complexity of like male shit that we go. A perfect example. Have you ever been with somebody and liked a pretty Instagram model's picture and your girl flies off the handle? Like they forget that you still think that other women are attractive. You know what I mean? Because the way we function are differently. Women, their values and their loyalty. Men, their value is in their ability to provide, protect, the stability they can give, the wisdom, the knowledge, the leadership. That's where our value is. Because men of value for millennia have had bitches. So like, I'm not saying that you
I just
can't be.
hey, side note. Speaking of Tinder, I just got a new match. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Did you?
Yeah.
How many death threats have I got, Chase?
Oh, we're
You
not
know,
live.
we ain't
live.
live today,
Oh.
so yeah.
We'll get back
This
to
is
you on that
all.
one.
We'll just censor every time we use the term bitch. We'll just put woman over it.
Yes. Can it be like somebody else's, like clearly not our voice?
I'll have Phil dub it.
Woman.
I love it. By the way, where's she at?
Yeah,
You see her?
where's she at?
Ken.
Hi.
The star of the hour over there.
Yeah. Yeah, she's great. She's been ignoring me. I talk really loud too, so I'm pretty sure she heard everything.
That's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. She hears all this shit all the time.
We didn't get nasty on here or nothing like that.
Let's get nasty.
Well,
Okay,
hey, we'll have
like
to
I
have
said-
you come back on one of the After Dark episodes. Where we can get
yeah,
I would
nasty,
love that.
nasty.
I knew, like I said, I knew we were rolling the dice having you on for this specific topic. I knew what we were going to get ourselves into, but you know, we can't be afraid to have other opinions of voice. I think this is the most like there's been disagreements among guests and stuff, but it's nice, you know. That's the whole point of Mental Health Mondays is to have dialogues and to hear other people's voices and shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, I always, you know, enjoy hearing what you have to say, even if I don't, you know, agree with every single thing. But, you know, I think that's what it really comes down to, just on a relationship level of just human beings, you know, people. It's just like, you know, I appreciate you as a person, and I always have. So, you know, if you say some off the wall, outlandish shit, you know, it is what it is, you know. But at the end of the day, I still know who you are. A lot of people are scared. It's, you know, it's times like these that it makes sense why people get so scared. But
think about this, right? So first, everything I said, I'm in a relationship. I love this woman. Anytime I brought her up this in the conversation, besides where I was making a little fun of that women don't know what they want to eat, I've said nothing but good things about her. So I'm very happy with her. I don't want anybody thinking like, who hurt him? But I've been hurt before. But like, she's very good for me. We've been together. We've been rocking almost, I think this May 27th will be 2 years. So, you know, it's she's definitely been a blessing in my life and shit like that, and helped me and not only help me get to the next level, which I should have done on my own, but she just, man, I'm telling you, I can go on and on about her. But the scary
that's
thing,
something, you know, women will definitely do that to you. I mean, they do have a fair amount of power for men too. Like you know, that's something that we really haven't gotten into here, but there is something else there that, like, you know, I've pushed myself very far because of women. You know, I have done so much in my life and made so many decisions in my life because
there's probably
of women,
a lot of things that have happened because of women. You know, I bet a lot of technology has come because of women.
Cars,
a man wanting to impress a chick, he's like, I'm gonna make this. It's gonna be dope.
I was telling Phil the other day. I said there's something about female energy. Sometimes I'm like, if you've ever just passed a table of just badass women and just felt that feminine energy coming off, it's just like, damn, you know.
Especially if one or more of them gives you a compliment as you walk by.
Then you feel on top of those.
Oh man, if one of them gave you a compliment and they all giggle, you'd be like,
because at the end of the day, you know, I can agree with you on a lot of this shit, but you know, men ain't shit too.
They ain't shit. But can I make a controversial point?
Another one? Yeah.
Can I say something controversial?
Let's hear it.
Close it out. Well, let me ask first. What do you think that your audience political ideology would be?
Huh?
It shouldn't be. There shouldn't be a political ideology to our audience, but there is. Shep, you want to take that one?
I mean, we do have, you know, like any platform here, like we do have a lot of people that are outspoken and very, you know, they're not afraid to speak their mind on their views. I'm not trying to be gentle. I'm just saying, I'd like to say that we have a lot of both ends, like, because
we do.
I do know a lot of left-leaning people, and a lot of the more, I'd like to say a lot of the more, like, some people that are more vocal are on the left side, but I do know a lot of the people that are very conservative too, that at the same time do listen to our stuff. You know, like, you know, my mom listens, you know, she's a conservative all the way, like, you know, and all that good stuff. So I mean, it really goes back and forth, because it's not like me and Chase really come on here to talk politics too much. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything, when we're talking, like, even these sorts of conversations right now, I think of it like just treating everybody with with respect. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
I'm just not a black and white kind of guy. I
when it
just don't
comes
subscribe to
to
that
like
kind of
Right.
terms and
view of
whatnot,
the world.
of course, like I'm a hip hop artist, so of
Sure.
course we already know the whole, oh, you shouldn't say bitch and stuff, and to me it's like, but like
Yeah.
I never, when I say yo bitch, I ain't like talking to the whole fucking scope of females or anything. I'm just saying the word bitch, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
in
that's
a
fair.
general sense, or like when I say suck my dick or something, I'm not trying to be homophobic or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's just in a general sense. To me, it's
Mm.
more like saying fuck off. It equates to that.
Right.
But there is, like I say, I do try to every day, like I present me on this platform here. So every day in life I try to be cool, as cool as I could be. If somebody goes out of their way to tell me, "Hey, I identify as this," okay, that's fine. I'll call you
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
I've had these conversations with people because I didn't understand it at first and had to
Right.
gain like some knowledge. Like when
Okay.
people want the they them. At first, I was like, "That's just weird to say," and
Yeah.
stuff like that. But then when you really break it down, and you're like, well, but you kind of already talk like that and never really realize it.
What
But
was
you
that
do.
line in Peacemaker today where it's like the worst that white men have to do is change the occasional word in their vocabulary?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and they're like,
Yeah.
ooh, what a tough word, life to live
Ooh.
in. But it's like, no, like, at first, like I said, it's just it's weird. And like if I was never like, oh fuck that. I was just like, it's just weird to have to be like, like what are
Mhm.
they doing? And it being somebody standing right beside you, and
Yeah.
it's like or whatever. But when you think, like I said, when you think about it and you go, okay, take that person out of the equation and you're talking to like your mom or something on your phone, and you're like, damn, John and Chase went ham on Mental Health Monday. They were saying some off the wall shit. My mom would go, well, why the fuck would they do that? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you realize like, okay, we do use these terms in everyday life. It's just about getting used to using it in a different form, I guess. I
That
don't
makes
know.
sense. I was
I
just
just know
gonna
this is a slow burn to whatever John's getting ready to say.
I just went on a slew there. I don't know. I'm rambling.
no. I was just gonna say because, like, all right, the reason I was like, because back to what you said, Chase, you said, sometimes it's a roll of the dice. You never know what you're gonna get. Sometimes you might, crap out. But like, I was just gonna say, like, to truth, like, think about, and I know I've said this to you before, that I think it's weird that honesty, that you call brutal honesty, shouldn't lying be brutal? And I
Yeah.
think that, like, and the reason I asked about like politics is because right now I have no political affiliation whatsoever. So, I sometimes say things about Trump. I sometimes say things about Biden. I make fun of both of them. I really don't. I don't lean anyway. But the left right now is wilding with the whole coronavirus thing. Everybody's scared to death of the common cold, and like both my before anybody like flips out, not YouTube, but like the audience. Both my grandparents passed away from the coronavirus. But then, like, when the thing that woke me up, because I worked in a hospital,
Mhm.
work in a hospital, they said the PCR tests were inaccurate. So I'm like, okay, so the whole thing's based off a lie. We could just stop with that one. Second, over 99% of people are going to be okay if they get it. Now, of course, like, whatever. Some older people, like my grandparents, they were functioning alcoholics. They were old and they were alcoholics. So their health was shit.
Mhm.
And then the CDC said, okay, well, most of the people who died from the coronavirus were going to die anyway. And then now most of the people who are dying died with the coronavirus. If you got hit by a train, but you had COVID, they counted as a COVID death.
Yeah.
Then you have the people dying from the vaccines. Then you have the people committing suicide from the lockdowns. Then you have just all this other shit. And the flu doesn't exist anymore. Then they call it Flurona. Then they call it all this other goofy ass shit just so they could steal most of your money and keep people enslaved. And I think that the coronavirus is all bullshit. And then we found out that they fucking made it. That Fauci fucking did it. He tried to go on the website and change the definition of gain of function to some other shit so he can say, oh, that didn't apply to me. But they funded gain of function research, creating the fucking pandemic that killed a lot of people, even though it was just basically a small flu, but people who were vulnerable to it died from it. The people who died from it. The reason I said that is because we got people that are driving alone in a car with a mask on. So they're
Yeah.
scared to death to breathe the air. But if you come out and say, nigga, fuck you and that mask, like I'm not staying in the house, nigga, fuck you. Because I'm not afraid to get the cold. You know, I'm not afraid to get, you know, I know it's man-made and they made it and it can hurt me. We've all probably already had it. So anyway, I know it's not about the pandemic and I'm not trying to, you know, upset any of your followers. And again, if anybody's lost anybody to the COVID or whatever the fuck, you know, my heart goes out to you because anybody dying is a tragedy. But, you know, there's going to be people out there that don't want the truth. So right now you have people that are hearing this stuff and they're like, well, you know, it's my 15th booster, but I'm going to do anything. You need to get vaccinated. And then you realize that it's just a money grab and they don't give a fuck about you. Why the fuck would the government ever do anything to benefit you that's not benefiting them?
But you don't pay for anything. Like, so how are they money grabbing? You know, like, nah, you know,
because the taxpayers pay for it. So the taxes pay for it. And even so, I know this is like common practice, but Pfizer went to, I think it was Argentina. They went to the government and said, hey, we'll give you these vaccines, but we want military bases and we want this and that. They're trying to like do
I don't doubt that at all, though. I mean,
it's collusion on some other shit. So I know it's more about money. They funded it. So it's a real thing. I believe the coronavirus is real, but like they funded it, and then it's not even as bad as people say, even though some people lost their taste and all this other shit.
What you just said right there, that, you know, the coronavirus is real. It's one of those things that people refuse to believe that two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Two opposing
things can be true at once. You know, that's why everybody tries to make things black and white, and that's just not the case. The majority of the time, you know, I read in, you know, one of my spiritual books I read once that it said, if it is not paradox, it is not true.
I feel that. I mean, it's like that, though. I mean, come on, dude. You're telling me that nobody in the government had their hands in any of these pharmaceutical companies that made any of these vaccinations?
They made
it's out of there. I mean, I think everybody's crooked up there. It's a money thing. I think we need to take the money out of our politics, like hardcore right now. They shouldn't be doing insider trading at all. Martha Stewart did some time for it, but that's everybody, because like, even if you go back, that's George Bush and Dick Cheney funding, you know, like making people go to war where, their ammunition companies are the ones that are funding the ammunition overseas. They're making billions and billions. It's all over the place, man. You can't pick a side and say, no, this side's okay, that side's wrong.
Yeah.
They're both so morally corrupt. Yeah. When it comes to money. And we're seeing it right now on a national level through this, because you know, like the longer it's went, the more I vibe with kind of what you're saying as it being more of it's a flu. It's became a flu. You know what I'm saying?
Sucks.
It does, and it is more like a flu. Whether or not you have to have like that included in a flu shot every year or something, but there are flu shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they don't even know. They don't even know what variant of the flu it is, so it doesn't even make sense to get the flu vaccine.
No,
and
but
that's
like,
something that's crazy. I didn't even mean to make this about coronavirus.
No, you're good.
We got a whole extra 20 minutes on here just about the coronavirus.
I just want to say about truth, because there's people on the left. And that's why I was asking, like, who's your audience? Because they're probably gonna be like, yeah, I don't want to hear him talk about the coronavirus. It's misinformation. They're even trying to cancel Joe Rogan. I'm just saying
all that.
Well, see, Joe Rogan's to me, Joe Rogan's a different story, though, because Joe Rogan is kind of, you know.
But he just had a guy on and let him speak. He didn't insinuate anything. All I'm saying is that what you said, Chase, you said that, you know, you roll of the dice. People don't want to hear the truth because it fucks with their narrative. Now, some people are so emotionally attached to an idea that they will die behind it. Think about you want to talk about 9/11 and George Bush and then people strapping bombs to their chest. But like, there's when we talk about dating, the manosphere is really important. And look up Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels and look up all these guys and hear what they have to say, because there's girls that are fighting and men need to reclaim, not reclaim, but men need to do more and become more so that they can have what they want in life. Because like you said, niggas ain't shit. They ain't shit either. A lot of men ain't shit. They're not entitled to women either. They're not entitled to these beautiful women, and beautiful women are entitled to these men, because most of these bitches is stupid. Women. Most of these women are not worth a good man either. So it's just the truth. If you don't like me, then not you guys, but if somebody don't like what I'm saying, then come give my girl a kiss and get in the bed with us.
No, it's all love over here. You know that, bro. You know that. Like it's one
Yeah,
of those
that's
things
how we try
that
to keep.
relationships and stuff's fucked. Everybody's gonna have their own opinion on what's right and what's wrong in them, and it's just about figuring out what you want
Yeah.
and waiting out for that and being happy with the life that you're built around yourself. That if
Yeah.
that doesn't come part of it, fuck it. Who gives a shit?
Well, see, now we're really going off here, because something I was saying earlier is that I respect you as a person. Like I don't have to agree with everything that you say, to respect and love you as a person. And I was listening to James Gunn talk about this
James
Peacemaker.
Gunn.
Yeah, he was talking about Peacemaker recently, and how a big part of the show for him is that in today's world there's just so much hate being spread around, and that's like the narrative that is being like, yes, you have to hate that person because you think differently. And so he made it a point in his show to make a character like Peacemaker that is so controversial and has all these different ideologies and everything, as opposed to the character that he becomes very good friends with
Mhm.
throughout the show, and they become friends because of who they are as people and not because of their ideology.
Right.
And that alone, I think a lot of us forget that we are just human beings at the end of the day. I think that's why with social media and everything, there's a lot of things that tell you this is what you're supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to do it, this is how you're supposed to live life. And
Mhm.
I've been like I said, yelling your praises recently, John, of being like, I'm practically on a soapbox outside with a sign being like, we're all slaves, we gotta get break the fuck out. Like I'm just like, everything's just like we're trapped in this thing that we're always told to be in. and
Yes.
and and we have to think differently. We have to think for ourselves. We have to be able to hear other people's voices. We have to be able to disagree with people and have
Yes.
conversations. It's a necessity of life. I mean, I know a big thing we had not too long ago was in regards to your character on the show, summer camp. And my biggest thing is, it sounded like the solution that was being asked for was to get rid of a character like yours. And it's like,
Mhm.
well, that's not a solution. That's eradication. We're eradicating but like apparently, life is balance, universe is balance. You're always going to have the bad
Yeah.
with the good. And if we just got rid of all the bad guys in movies and stuff, all the douchebags and characters that people don't like, the racist characters, the this, the that, that's misinformation. That's misinformation.
That's
That's
true.
painting a picture of a world that does not exist,
Yeah.
because these people exist in
But at
the
some
world.
point too, it does become lazy writing. Like if you're gonna make
Oh,
the bad guy be a racist just so we all hate him, that's just lazy
right, yeah,
writing.
that's
That's
just
true.
like
Yeah,
I do want
give
to
us
say that
give us more.
me and Chase have had a sexual relationship for 10 years,
Okay,
on and off.
on
I
and
do want
off.
to let
Yeah,
our viewers know that.
yeah,
okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Glad we
But I
cleared that up.
appreciate it. I appreciate your praise, man.
of
You
course.
both have been really good to me. Man, we had a lot of fun doing a lot of shit. And I know I've stirred the pot sometimes, which is just a part of what I do. But also, I do really appreciate kind of, because it almost like sometimes, man, it's hard. It's and I don't want to make like I'm misunderstood and nobody understands. Like,
Yeah,
but sometimes when you're around like group think, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with feminism. There's nothing wrong with feminism, but like when man, that without getting into that, but it's just like, man, sometimes you're
Well,
just
see,
hearing,
to me,
you're like an echo chamber.
to me, it's this. It's if somebody doesn't agree with what you say, a lot of times they're just quick to jump to attack. So
Yeah.
maybe and they don't really know you. So maybe that's the first time you really decided I'm going to come out and speak my mind, and then all they do is jump and attack. Well, then you're going to shut up. Now
Yeah.
that might get to them to their point, but that's not right. You know what I'm saying? It should never be the attacks, attacks this way, attacks that way, attacks
Mhm.
from one another, because we're never going to really get to the solutions that way. Like I said, you're just
yeah,
going to make people shut up, and then your point will get across. But do you truly win that way?
The
yeah,
craziest part is they usually agree. And that's what the slave people have, a slave mindset, and it's shocking because I think all of us want a couple fundamental things. We want a family. Most of us, we want somewhere safe to live. We want to be able to eat. We want to be able to do some things that are fun, and we really don't ask for too much. But yet, there's going to be people that are afraid to say this whole COVID shit is bullshit. There's going to be people that are afraid to say that, man, even though I love my girl to death, I like these Instagram models too. because they're afraid of what the consensus is or whatever. But at the same time, they'll agree with what I'm saying, but they'll still hide who they truly are. And that's lying. I think that's brutal lying
I vibe with
for
that.
people to live like that.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I refuse to do it. And you know what, man? If you two are my only two friends, I'm happy to get on Mental Health Monday every week.
Yeah, that's all we need.
That's all. That's it, man. But I can't live in an
We
echo
all
chamber.
gotta learn how to have conversations with each other and talk and hear each other out, and not and quit this fighting and hate and all this other shit. Just about enough of that.
Yeah.
So, here the only political ideology we have is love, baby.
Love, baby.
Love,
fucks with
baby.
it.
That's all love here at Chase and Shep. That's what we said. We even said as our disclaimer to exes for the month of February. Yes, we're going to be getting into relationship stuff. We'll probably be drawn, but we never drop names. It's all love. It's all lessons. And you got to go through that bad. Again, another John quote that I've thrown out there is those good moments are the reward. The good moments are the reward for going through all the bad shit. You may have even said that on our show before. I don't know.
Man.
But Mental Health Monday, February, kicking it off right.
Big one.
It's lit.
Hell yeah.
Kicking it off right. A little controversy. It's the way we're doing February.
I'm glad I can kick some dust in the air.
Hell yeah. John, fantastic to see you.
Always
As always. Thank you so much for blessing us with your presence today.
Well, thanks for having me, guys, man. I miss y'all.
Miss you too, man.
Too, buddy.
Well, I guess that's it then, huh?
That's it for Mental Health Monday. Peace.
Snitches and deuces. Mental Health Mondaysers.